What's up, guys? SirAllAboutMusic here, and before we get today's video started, congratulations to JGC Sound and his wife for what I'm sure is a beautiful, beautiful baby girl. She had the baby 2 days ago, if I'm not mistaken. I'm sorry if I got that wrong, and I am so happy for you, dude, and I wish you nothing but the best. And I know that your daughter is going to grow up in a musically awesome house, so kudos to you. And if the rest of you want some of that musical awesomeness to rub off on you, you should go to JGC Sound's channel, which is that way in the sidebar, link in the sidebar, and sub him because he is awesome. So yeah, JGC Sound, congrats, dude. Congrats. So let's get this thing started. Let's start talking about Cake, one of my favorite bands. I have been a fan of Cake since I was like 10. I love this band. I think they're amazing, and they're so much fun to listen to. And we're going to be talking about Motorcade of Generosity, released in 1994, their first official release. And the thing about Motorcade is it's not as their sound isn't as developed on this album as it becomes on their later albums, and that country western feel that kind of pervades Fashion Nugget and Prolonging the Magic is way apparent on this. I know that these guys are real fans of country western music, but the spin that's the thing, I don't like country western music. I hate it. But the spin that Cake puts on it makes it awesome, and I love it. I love the way they sound and the way they do it. I think it's great, and I think it's due to a couple of things. Their tone is a little rougher. It's not so clean and jangly. It's a little rougher, a little distorted. John McCrea doesn't have whiny, wussy vocals. He's more focused on the rhythm and the flow of his lyrics. He's not really a singer. Actually, I've always considered him more of like a rapper. Just in the sense that he's more concentrated on the way the words flow and the way, you know, how they fit in the beat, and not so much on the melody that he's putting over these songs. So I think those are two things that really set their country western twist apart from country western bands, and I've always really liked that about Cake. The other thing that kind of country western feel, because it pervades so much on the album, Motorcade really has a kind of sameness to it. Their later albums, they start pulling in a lot more sounds, different sounds, and really experimenting with, you know, where they can take their influences and their styles, and, you know, just exactly how far they can go with their ideas. And that's another reason why I really like this band. But with Motorcade, they don't really do that. It's more like it's a lot more straightforward in the sense that their songs are there, and they're not really trying. I don't think in my opinion, they're not really trying to go anywhere new. It's more like, here's our starting point. This is what we sound like, and now we're gonna build off of here and see where we can go. That's how I view Motorcade. So yeah. Totally lost my train of thought for some reason. So yeah, there's some really fun songs on here. There's some really lighthearted songs. There's some great wordplay. I might have already said that. There's some great wordplay by John on this album, especially when you get to songs like Rock and Roll Lifestyle. Some fantastic wordplay there. Just in general, it's a really fun album, and I enjoy listening to it. I really do. But that's the thing. It's just fun. There really isn't any kind of seriousness to it. I mean, you know, they dig at, you know, certain groups and types of people, and, you know, groups of people, but in a fun kind of lighthearted way. And all right, maybe not so much that, but No really dark moodiness on here. A lot of really upbeat, lighthearted songs. So originality, absolutely fantastic. I really do enjoy this album. So that's how much I like it. The flow is actually, it's fairly good. You know, for the sameness that this album has in its sound, that sameness really doesn't interrupt the flow too much. But it doesn't lend anything, you know. It doesn't lend anything. The flow isn't great, but it's not bad, and that sameness really doesn't bring the flow down in any way, even though you think that it would. So yeah, no problem with the flow. As far as production goes, I think Todd Roper, their drummer, is way too far back. He's more of a timekeeper on this album than on Fashion Nugget and. Yeah, he was with them for Prolonging the Magic. On those two albums, his drumming takes it's not the focal point, but it takes more of a front seat, and he does things with his drumming that add to the songs. With this, you know, he almost sounds like a drum machine on this album. Really, I mean, he's just kind of there. You know. That's a little disappointing because I think Todd Roper isn't a fantastic drummer, but in the context of Cake, he's a great drummer. Honestly, he's a great drummer. So yeah, that's the only problem I have with production. And you know, John's vocals I think are a little too loud. But like I said, the great thing about this album is the wordplay and his vocals. So that's a little that's understandable. You know, the vocals being pressed forward. So yeah, Motorcade of Generosity, great album. Favorite song on here, Pentagram, and I'll leave a link to that if I can find it on YouTube. I'll leave a link to that in the sidebar. It's actually, I think it's the most country influenced song on this album, and I totally love it. I laugh every time I hear it. And worst song, probably be Comanche. It's not, the songwriting on that song isn't as great as the rest of the album. It's just kind of weak. But yeah, it's still not a bad song, and I'll leave a link to that if I can find it on YouTube too. So that's all I gotta say for Cake's Motorcade of Generosity. As always, leave a comment down there in the comments box. Tell me what you thought, and SirAllAboutMusic. See you guys next time.